2025 Ducati Panigale v4s is the best superbike money can buy today. There you go, that's the review you need to hear. But I know how this is. It is one of those movies where you already know who's done it, yet you want to see all of it. It is one of those decisions that you've already taken in your head, yet you want one more person to corroborate what you already know. Alright then, my name is Sunny, also known as the Motographer from xBhp motorcycling platform and print magazine in India. And I got an opportunity to ride the 2025 Ducati Panigale v4s at the Chang International MotoGP circuit in Thailand. So that was the perfect setting. But where are we right now? This is the Moto Villa where I keep all my bikes and collectibles. This is my beloved Ducati Street Fighter V4s 2022, which I've taken on the track a couple of times and on the road. Well, personally, I believe that a motorcycle is actually different for different kind of motorcyclists. For me, the Street Fighter could be something else. For you, it could be something else. And it stands so true with the new Ducati Panigale V4s. And that is the reason why you need to know a little bit about me as a motorcyclist before I tell you what I think about this amazing motorcycle. I have the Kawasaki Ninja ZX-10R as my track motorcycle. And I have a few other motorcycles like the Triumph Rocket 3, Suzuki Hayabusa, and a Ninja H2. I am primarily a long-distance tourer, having done 77 countries on motorcycles so far, including more than 20 countries on a Ducati Multistrada and something like 20,000 kilometers around Australia on a Ninja H2. So long-distance endurance rides include 4 Ironed butts, the last being 1700 kilometers in 15 hours on a BMW M1000 RR in Germany. Now, why is all this important? Because you should know how I will be with the Ducati Panigale. Well, the last time I went on the track was more than a year ago with the Ninja ZX-10R on the Booth International Circuit in India. So that is how I'm currently set up before I actually go and tell you my experience with the Panigale. So good motorcycling experience, but rusty track experience as of now. Let's see how the bike treats me now that you know who I am. I rode the previous Panigale on the Sepang circuit, and that was amazing as well. You know what, in spite of me owning a lot of motorcycles, I feel that the 2025 Panigale is on top of the food chain as far as track-ready motorcycles go. And here are my 5 reasons why. Number 1 definitely has to be MotoGP bike performance for the road. Andrea Iannone had set this time on this bike on the Misano circuit. These are MotoGP times, and it would have qualified him to be on the MotoGP grid. Well, it is insane to think that you can actually buy a MotoGP bike off the showroom. Number 2, it has to be exclusivity and rarity. It is plain simple, it is expensive, and it needs a certain mindset to be able to take it beyond the cafe runs and onto the track, but still it is going to sell like hotcakes. This is 36.5 lakh Indian rupees ex-showroom in Delhi, which means around 40 lakh rupees. And if you want to get the official Ducati performance exhaust from Akrapovic, you have to shell out, you know how much? 14 lakh rupees for the exhaust. That is the cost of one Kawasaki Ninja ZX-6R. Talking about 600s, number 3 will ask me to consider this as the new 600. Even though this is a 1100cc, they have somehow managed to refine the bike and its software so much that it could be the easiest 200 plus bhp bike to ride there on the track. The weight reduction and the weight distribution is just insane. Number 4, its electronics will help you mimic a pro rider until you become a pro rider yourself. The eCBS system itself is a masterpiece. It actually helps you engage the rear brakes like the pro riders do, become faster on the track. That is insane. Then you also have the Ducati Vehicle Observer. There are so many things in this motorcycle in terms of electronics. Last but not the least, when you buy a motorcycle, you can ask for a test ride. But in this case, you can actually go and test this motorcycle in some of the best MotoGP tracks around the world because of DRE, which is the Ducati Ride Experience, where I also went as media. They choose the best locations, the best trainers from around the world. And once you ride a Panigale over there is no going back to any other bike. Your insurance, travel, everything is included in the price you pay. But now let's talk about the bike. Let's start with the looks. This is a looker, there's no doubt about that. However, the 2025 Panigale has a few changes as far as looks go, but they have massive functional impacts. The biggest one is letting go of the single-side swing arm for the double-sided swing arm. For people who were buying this bike for the looks, there's definite disappointment. However, since the instructions of the engineers of the new Panigale have always been make it faster and better handling than the previous one, the major thing that was stopping them was the single-sided swing arm. The new hollow symmetrical swing arm provides 37% less lateral stiffness and a revised wider footbed position with a 10mm more inward position. Well, this resulted in an even better lean angle over 60 degrees. Just for comparison, MotoGP sees 65 degrees lean angles. But not only that, the rear assembly with the new swing arm actually weighs 2.7 kgs less than the previous one, and it is more effective in putting power to the ground. This also allowed Ducati to also retain the underbelly exhaust. The new bike is also longer than the previous Panigale. Quite an engineering feat there. Now let's talk about the front. The front has been broadened a bit for 4% lesser drag, and there is much more room for the rider to tuck behind. This means that it's less tiring in the long straights, which I actually felt at the Chang circuit. The overall design is a mix of the iconic 916 from the front, and the side profile actually derives cues from the MotoGP motorcycle, which is kind of flat. And there is one very unique thing that they have done, which is actually quite effective. There's a dip in the tank where the helmet chin fits better, and trust me, it has made a lot of difference on the track. Well, that's not it. The tank is also actually much thinner and it tapers down towards the seat. And there are very good recesses here for you to hold on to, especially when you're taking a turn or during hard braking. And even here, there are some texture surfaces that will ensure that your leathers don't slip that much. So there are a lot of very effective but small changes that Ducati has made to make the Panigale even faster and easier to ride on the track. The seat is actually 1.5 inches longer and 2 inches wider as well, which I actually felt while riding on the track. On the road, it will of course translate to much better comfort as well. When riding fast, this also helps you change positions quickly, and that also helps immensely. The new 6.9 inches full TFT has 8:3 aspect ratio, which can give you tons of information like the G meter, lean angle, and much more. Ducatis are a rare combination of top-of-the-line looks with performance to match. The new Panigale v4s has been made much easier to ride on the track compared to the previous generation big V-twins, like the 1198R. This means more sales for Ducati, but it also means finally they are doing justice to the racing on Sunday and selling on Monday. This 2025 Ducati Panigale 7G is the 7th generation Ducati Superbike that started with the 1988 851. And it is the easiest, most powerful and the closest to a MotoGP bike ever. Well, this sounded almost like an iPhone launch, didn't it? Ducati has finally broken the invisible barrier of making such a powerful bike actually easy to ride. The slightly revised 2025 Ducati Stradale engine that is derived from the GP bike is 1 kg lighter on this one than the previous gen Panigale. With its 1103cc 90-degree Desmo V4 and the classic counter-rotating crankshaft which helps balance the gyroscopic force of the wheels, making it more precise on the tight circuits. And due to the inertial torque it generates, it apparently also helps in preventing wheelies during hard acceleration and even stoppies during hard braking. The 70-degree crank pins require a twin pulse firing order, which gives the bike a distinctive MotoGP bike sound. Hear this out. The biggest achievement perhaps of making this engine is making it Euro 5 compliant and yet increasing the power and making it lighter. How incredible is that? The stock 2025 Panigale V4 produces 216 horsepower at 13,500 RPM and 120.9 Newton meters of torque. Well, like I said, if you can spend 14 lakh rupees, you can get the Ducati Performance Racing exhaust by Akrapovic. It will take the power up by 12 bhp and it will reduce the weight by 6 kilograms. One of the main reasons why this Panigale is much faster than the previous one is the chassis redesign. We have already spoken about the swing arm, while the front frame is lighter by 750 grams compared to the previous generation. It also has 40% less lateral stiffness. Now talking about the suspension, the Öhlins NPX TTX are relatively unchanged, but they have been fine-tuned for more comfortable settings on the road with higher rate of speed of hydraulic valves, giving it a more precise and accurate response. What is a good bike? It's not only about performance of the engine, it's also about how well it can stop when you want it. And I have to admit that the Ducati Panigale V4s right over here has the best brakes in business. These are the first Brembo high pure brakes to be used in any superbike in the world. And yes, they have done an incredible job, allowing you to brake late and giving you that confidence on the track to basically do that. Along with the xBhp system that has been developed by Bosch in collaboration with Ducati, this motorcycle actually uses braking the right way to make you go faster. And that is what pro riders actually do, because they know when to brake and how late they can brake. And in that sense, this bike can be much more forgiving than other superbikes on the track. There is also something called the post-run, where the system continues to activate the rear brake even after releasing the front brake. That is crazy. But now they have taken one more step with the race xBhp system and the Ducati Vehicle Observer. You can consider the Ducati Vehicle Observer as a virtual control room built in the Panigale that constantly takes inputs from 70 different sensors with learnings and algorithms from Ducati racers around the world over many years and helping estimate ground forces acting on the bike, the loads it can bear in various conditions, and then it integrates that information from the IMU control various things like traction control, the level of xBhp, and probably things like engine braking control and much more. Just think about that, having a virtual friend. It's almost like artificial intelligence now also being built in motorcycles. A mention must be made about the new Ducati Quick Shifter that makes the experience even better and removes the rubbery feeling to a large extent with reduced travel. When talking about performance, one cannot forget about the tires because power is nothing without control. And because of the technical advancements in electronics, the new Panigale can take the new Pirelli tires which are here and make the bike better handling and actually put down power in a much better way, giving almost WSBK spec performance with the tires. The previous Panigale was a bit twitchy after the tires were worn out a bit, but the new Panigale, well, thanks to its changing parameters due to the DVO and more, behaves incredibly well even with used tires on the track, increasing safety and providing more long-lasting performance. If you know how costly the tires can be, this is actually a good thing and a safe thing too. If you can afford, look no further than the 2025 Ducati Panigale v4s. It won't just be a perfect partner to any event or cafe run in terms of looks and bragging rights, but it will improve you as a rider on the track and urge you to test your limits like never before. And I wonder what improvements they can actually make in Panigale 8G. You never know.